tonight, reports just coming in that the FBI has recovered personal emails from the computer server that the Clinton camp thought it had wiped clean. Welcome to the Kelly File, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. We just got this report a few minutes ago. Bloomberg Media quoting a source saying the FBI has recovered personal and work-related emails from the private computer server used by Hillary Clinton during her time as Secretary of State. This is a big deal, because any success at salvaging the emails that Mrs. Clinton said had been deleted raises the possibility that the Democratic presidential candidate's correspondence eventually could become public. Now, our Ed Henry just questioned the Clinton campaign about the breaking news. He is rushing to the Washington Bureau right now. He will be on camera with us in a moment. Stand by. Our other big breaking story tonight, new fallout from Pope Francis's first visit to the United States, as the media declare the historic visit historically bad for Republicans, those in general and in particular the 2016 GOP field. Hours ago, President Obama greeting the pontiff as he arrived in Washington, D.C. Tomorrow, the Pope attends a welcoming ceremony at the White House. And on Thursday, he addresses a joint session of Congress. But even before the Pope speaks, the media declaring this visit, quote, damaging for Republicans. Politico says the visit brings, quote, hope for Dems, trepidation for GOP. Reuters predicting this, quote, may deepen Republicans' Hispanic problem. CNN has been running the headline, quote, the Pope versus the GOP. Joining us on this story tonight, Republican presidential candidates Senator Ted Cruz, Dr. Ben Carson, and Governor Bobby Jindal. But we begin tonight with Howie Kurtz, who is host of Media Buzz. So there you have it, Howie. This is a terrible development for Republicans, a wonderful one for Democrats.
Well, some news outlets have been fair. New York Times today, for Pope's visit could benefit both left and right. But I confess, the major theme of the coverage for weeks has been because this Pope speaks out against the excesses of capitalism and for helping the poor, because he sounded a tolerant note on gays, and because he's issued a treatise on combating climate change, that this was an awkward, very difficult headache for the GOP. What is far less emphasized is that this Pope and his church vehemently oppose abortion, and he's landing on a day when, yes, that's part of the story. He's landing on a day when Senate Democrats blocked a vote to outlaw late-term abortions, that Francis and the Catholic Church oppose gay marriage, oppose contraception, which, as you know, has been subject of battles with the Obama administration. So it's a problem for Democrats as well.
First of all, on the New York Times, I'll challenge you on that. Ted Cruz is up next, and we're going to talk with him about the headline they ran on Pelosi and abortion versus what they've said about the Pope and the GOP. We'll get to that in a minute. But let me ask you this. It's to the point where the media was pummeling the pontiff so badly on the plane on the way over here about how he must be against the Republicans and how he's really a liberal, that the Pope had to come out, the Pope, to say, I am not a liberal. So I am pursuing and pushing long-standing church doctrine. I am not a liberal, he says.
What the pontiff said, according to the accounts I've seen, is that he has said some things that could be seen as leftish, but in fact that's a misinterpretation. He hasn't changed church doctrine. That needs to be part of the coverage. This is a humble Pope, an inspirational Pope, but it's a Pope who, through his tone and actions, creates some political complications for both parties here in Washington.
Howie, great to see you.
Thanks, Megyn.
As Howie mentioned, in the hours before the Pope landed, Senate Democrats killed a ban on late-term abortions, something the Catholic Church isn't exactly in favor of. Have you been paying any attention at all in Sunday school? Joining me now, Republican presidential candidate, Senator Ted Cruz. Senator, thank you very much for being with us tonight. So let's start with that. Do you think there's a reason why the media is trying to draw this as some sort of a rift between the Republicans running for office, all of them, and the Holy Father?
Oh, of course there is. You know, it's great to be with you, Megyn. Look, the mainstream media, they are not fair and impartial observers. They are partisans. They are Obama's #1 protectors, and they're rooting for Hillary. And Pope Francis has been an incredible voice for life. He's been an incredible voice for marriage. He's been an incredible voice for religious liberty. And on all three of them, we are seeing an assault that is unprecedented in the history of our country. You know, the Democrats and the media don't want to talk about the fact that today Senate Democrats stood virtually united in support of late-term abortion. They don't want to talk about these horrifying Planned Parenthood videos that show them selling the body parts of unborn children. They don't want to talk about the assault on marriage that Pope Francis has stood up against, and they certainly don't address the continued assault on religious liberty. You know, in Egypt, when we saw 22 Coptic Christians beheaded by ISIS, and the Obama White House described it as they're being killed because of their Egyptian citizenship, Pope Francis powerfully spoke out. He said their blood confesses Jesus Christ. I'm very glad to welcome Pope Francis to America. I'm very glad he's with us.
And some are suggesting, well, these Republicans are going to have to avoid photo ops with the Pope because they don't want the distinction drawn. And yet nobody talked about, you know, the point you made about Christians and whether the United States and this administration has done enough to protect them, which has been an ongoing narrative in some media outlets. Or, for example, forget the abortion thing, which we'll talk about in a minute. But what about Little Sisters of the Poor, which the Obama administration has successfully sued to make them give the okay in writing such that their employees can get contraception, which Pope Francis may not love.
Well, Megan, you're exactly right. And as you know, I have pledged if I'm elected president on the first day in office, I will instruct the Department of Justice to open an investigation into Planned Parenthood and these horrific videos. And on the first day in office, I will instruct every federal agency that the persecution of religious liberty ends that day, and that will mean, among other things, that the case against the Little Sisters of the Poor will be dismissed. I mean, this is an administration, the Obama administration, that is litigating against a Catholic charity, the Little Sisters, attempting to force the nuns to pay millions of dollars of fines under Obamacare in order to try to force them to pay for abortion-inducing drugs. It makes no sense. It's radical and extreme. And I'm curious if the mainstream media will ask Democrats how they feel about litigating against nuns while the Holy Father is here in America.
I'm sure he's on the other side. This is what you're up against, though, as a Republican running for the White House. The media chooses to focus on the divide between the Republican Party and this Pope when it comes to issues like immigration or climate change, income inequality. Okay, those may be legitimate splits. But where is the focus on the fact that he's going to go address a joint session of Congress that just today refused to sign off on a ban of 20-week abortions of a 5-month-old baby in the womb? That they stood up and said, we don't want to ban that. Even if there's an exception for the life of the mother, we're still not going to get behind that. That is not highlighted, and yet this same media, I'm going to give you the floor, but the same media, New York Times, look at the headline they put out about Nancy Pelosi on September 21st. Look at this. In Pelosi, strong Catholic faith and abortion rights coexist. That's fine. You can coexist if it's pro-choice. But if you want to coexist when it comes to any income inequality or immigration, you need to avoid your photo ops with the Pope.
Well, you know, the media, as I said, are partisans, and they're trying to distract the public. They're trying to lie to the public. But there is power to truth. You know, one of the reasons I think that our presidential campaign has such tremendous momentum is because speaking the truth and speaking it with a smile has power. You know, Megan, coming out of that first debate that you moderated, you know, in the 100 hours that followed that debate, our campaign raised over $1 million in 100 hours as people all over the country went to tedcruz.org, contributed. The second debate that just ended, we raised over $1 million, not in 100 hours, in 48 hours, less than half as much time.
How does that compare to your compadres running for the office?
Well, none of them have announced their results, so that suggests they didn't do all that well. What I can tell you is in the campaign so far, out of 17 Republican candidates, our campaign has raised the most money. We've had some 300,000 contributions. The average contribution is $81. People go to tedcruz.org.
81, interesting.
And they're looking for someone to tell the truth, to stand up. Well, we try to speak with precision.
Is it like $1 fee for making you go through the processing or something? Senator Cruz, it's always great to see you.
It's great to be with you, Megan. Thank you.
All the best. Back now to our breaking news on reports that the FBI has recovered personal emails from the computer server that the Clinton campaign thought it had deleted from that server. If you are just joining us, Bloomberg Media tonight quoting a source saying the FBI has recovered personal and work-related emails from the private computer server used by Hillary Clinton during her time as Secretary of State. Our own Ed Henry just questioned the Clinton campaign about the report. He joins us now live from the Bureau. Ed?
Megan, good to see you. The stakes could not be any higher for Hillary Clinton. Obviously, she's been sliding in the polls already. This Bloomberg report, quoting one anonymous source familiar with the FBI investigation, is suggesting, as you say, that the FBI has recovered not just personal email, but work-related email. Why is that significant? Go back to the beginning, when Hillary Clinton first revealed this at that news conference on March 10th at the United Nations. Her narrative was that she had deleted roughly 30,000 personal emails that were just about yoga, her daughter's wedding, and that the rest were work-related emails that she turned over. If the FBI has now recovered work-related emails, official emails that were deleted, this would be a game changer, number one, and change the narrative and suggest that she was not telling the truth on March 10th. Secondly, if they are recovering work-related emails, does that raise the specter of more classified information in those work-related emails being on the personal server, despite Hillary Clinton also at that March 10th news conference saying, no, there's no classified information? I just got off the phone with Nick Merrill, Hillary Clinton's spokesman. He was literally in Des Moines taking off at the airport, leaving after their campaign event tonight. He told me two things. Number one, he said, we've always cooperated with the FBI. And number two, he said, we simply don't know what the FBI has and does not have. They're in the dark about where this investigation is going. That's very scary for Hillary Clinton. Final point, two other big things happened today. Under political pressure to try and please the left, Hillary Clinton today, for the first time, took a position on the Keystone Pipeline and to appease environmentalists, said that she's now against the pipeline, number one. Number two, there was an event at the White House with Vice President Joe Biden, African-American leaders, and they were chanting, "Run, Joe, run." If there's more information spilling out from this FBI investigation in the days ahead, you're going to hear that.
I got to ask you this before I let you go. You tell me whether I misread the report. To me, it was significant that they had recovered personal emails because she said that was what she deleted. The report seemed to be suggesting the deleted emails, the ones she wiped clean from the server, have been recovered. They have been recovered, and now we'll determine whether they were personal or they were work-related. When I read that they had recovered work-related emails, I just figured, well, they recovered the ones that she's already produced. But what they seem to be telling us is, the bottom line is, they got the emails that she thought she wiped clean, and they're going through them right now.
And both could be significant, is the bottom line, Megan, because there could be ones that she deemed personal and deleted that they've now recovered, and that as others look at it independently might say, well, actually, that was work-related. That was
Somebody's
about Benghazi. That was about something else. And then in terms of work-related, why I think that's significant is she said, I turned these over to the State Department, anything work-related. You're right. Maybe she turned them over and then deleted them, or maybe she turned over 80% of them, 90% of them, and there are other work-related ones that we're finding. We simply don't know.
The point is, her claims are now being checked by the FBI.
And they're being challenged big time.
They've got the emails. Ed, it's great to see you.
Thank you.
More on that in the days to come. We are also hearing from the Carson campaign tonight on stories suggesting that he's changing his stance regarding his comments about a Muslim president. Dr. Carson says it's not true. He's not changing his stance. He'll join us to explain next. Then Governor Bobby Jindal is also here to respond to suggestions that the entire Republican field has a big problem with religion in this race. Plus, Senator Marco Rubio tonight hit Donald Trump hard on foreign policy. Britt Hume is here with the latest on that fight. And then the ACLU is now pushing to have Kim Davis thrown back in jail, claiming the clerk is causing new problems for same-sex couples trying to get married. By the way, she's with us here tomorrow night. Tonight, our lawyers, Mark and Arthur, are here on the possibility that Davis could be headed back to jail.